Recently, Bianca Belair broke her silence regarding Jade Cargill's highly anticipated return to WWE, and in this discussion, I'm going to unpack exactly what she said. Alongside that, I'll dive into some intriguing comments Jade Cargill made following her comeback at Elimination Chamber, an event that turned out to be a massive deal in the wrestling world. Elimination Chamber will undoubtedly go down in history for several reasons: John Cena's shocking heel turn, the returns of Jade Cargill and Randy Orton, and the ripple effects these moments created. For Jade Cargill specifically, her return carries significant weight because it redefines her dynamic with Bianca Belair. However, I don't believe this shift necessarily sets the stage for an immediate feud between the two. Instead, it introduces a layer of complexity to their relationship that's worth exploring. Let's rewind to the night of Elimination Chamber. Jade Cargill made her dramatic return at the very start of the Women's Elimination Chamber match. The match kicked off with Liv Morgan and Naomi in the ring, while Bianca Belair watched from one of the pods. This contest was all about determining the number one contender, the woman who would go on to challenge Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship at WrestleMania. As many predicted, Bianca Belair emerged victorious. She had been the odds-on favorite heading into the event, and the groundwork for her win had been laid in the days prior. On the episode of Monday Night Raw before Elimination Chamber, Bianca and Naomi dropped the women's tag team titles to Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, a move that seemed to signal big things for Bianca individually. Fans and analysts alike had suspected Jade's return was imminent, and when her music hit at Elimination Chamber, the arena erupted. Jade stormed down to the ring with purpose. Her first target was Liv Morgan, and Liv sold the attack flawlessly, making Jade look like an unstoppable force. It seemed, for a moment, that Jade's focus would stay on Liv, but then she pivoted, turning her attention to Naomi and absolutely decimating her. Inside her pod, Bianca Belair watched the chaos unfold, and her reaction was perfection. She screamed, she cried, she looked utterly heartbroken, emotions pouring out as she witnessed one of her closest allies, Jade, brutalize another dear friend, Naomi. The devastation on Bianca's face told a story of its own. She wasn't just upset about Naomi being taken out of the match and losing her shot at WrestleMania. She was reeling from the betrayal of seeing Jade, someone she trusted, attack Naomi so viciously. The layers to this moment are fascinating. It ties back to a storyline from November, when Jade was sidelined by a mystery attacker. At the time, speculation ran rampant about who was behind it, and Naomi had been vocal about pointing the finger at Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Now, with Jade's actions at Elimination Chamber, it seems she believes Naomi was the culprit all along. This twist adds depth to the narrative, and it's clear WWE intends to let this drama play out on television in the coming weeks. I'd wager we'll hear Jade's side of the story on the next episode of SmackDown, while Naomi, given the severity of the beatdown, will likely be off-screen for a bit to sell the injury. In the aftermath of Elimination Chamber, Bianca Belair spoke candidly during what I believe was the post-show press conference. Her words painted a picture of confusion and emotional turmoil. "I'm so confused, honestly," she admitted. "I was very confused. I feel like I still need answers for that. I didn't understand what was happening. Naomi and we were very sure that Liv did that, and Naomi pushed to me that Liv and Raquel did that. But when I got back from my match, Naomi wasn't there because she was stretchered out, and Jade wasn't there either. So I feel like I need to talk to both of them before I jump to conclusions." She paused, reflecting, before continuing. "I really don't believe that Jade would watch me team up with Naomi knowing that she did that. I truly don't believe that Naomi would do something like that. I've known her for a very long time. I don't know, and tonight was just very bittersweet. I'm going to try to focus on WrestleMania, but it's very bittersweet." Bianca's response was a roller coaster of emotions, and you could sense her uncertainty. At one moment, she emphasized needing to speak with both Jade and Naomi to get clarity, and in the next, she pivoted to focusing on her WrestleMania preparations. It's worth noting that these post-show comments aren't scripted in the traditional sense. They're delivered in character, or kayfabe, as the wrestling world calls it, but the performers are largely speaking off the cuff. I think Bianca's waffling here reflects that unscripted nature. She didn't have a polished, premeditated answer because she was processing the events in real time, just like the audience. Looking ahead, I've long suspected WWE would use this moment to shift Bianca Belair's trajectory. I predicted before Elimination Chamber and reiterated after that she'd move to Monday Night Raw to focus on her WrestleMania showdown with Rhea Ripley. This transition accomplishes two key things. First, it keeps her from feuding directly with either Naomi or Jade, preserving those potential matchups for a more opportune time. Second, it physically separates Bianca and Jade without forcing them into a premature confrontation. WWE clearly sees money in a future Bianca vs. Jade match, and they're playing the long game to build toward it. Meanwhile, Jade Cargill took a different approach to address the situation. She posted a cryptic video on social media, and her words were dripping with intensity. "There are wolves in the shape of women all around me," she began. "I can see the way they look into my eyes. I'm not one of them, and they're not me. I weathered every storm that was meant to break me. I will not strike myself for anyone. Don't mistake my grace for weakness. I've played by the rules long enough. Now it's time for mine. I am one of one. I am that B*TCH. The production quality of the video was top-notch, directed by Starman Jones and filmed by Robert Peake, and it's safe to assume Jade invested her own money to make it happen. Regardless of the logistics, it was a bold statement, and it underscored her mindset heading into this next chapter of her WWE career. Now, while Jade and Bianca's perspectives are compelling, there's another angle to this story that's raised some eyebrows: WWE's handling of Jade's return. I've been vocal about my criticisms, and if you check out my main channel, you'll find a video titled "Something Doesn't Make Sense About Jade Cargill's Return." Here's the crux of the issue. Back in November, when Jade was attacked and written off television, reports suggested she'd be sidelined for at least 3 months. WWE's internal injury roster list isn't something they fake. Being on it means you're legitimately hurt or inactive. Yet, there were conflicting reports claiming it was all part of an angle and that Jade was fine. Months passed, and she was spotted training at the Performance Center for over a month. One outlet even suggested she was just getting back into ring shape. But here's where the math doesn't add up. If she was only out for 3 months, why would she need 6 weeks to retrain? Something feels off. Triple H, WWE's creative head, addressed this in a way that didn't exactly inspire confidence. He admitted, "When we first did this, we didn't know how we were going to pay it off, and we didn't know how long Jade was going to be out. It was a kick the can down the road type of situation." That's a direct quote, and it's frustrating to hear. Booking a major star like Jade Cargill without a clear endpoint isn't a new tactic for WWE. They've done it before, most infamously with Steve Austin's car accident angle at Survivor Series years ago, which led to the lackluster Rikishi Did It for The Rock payoff. It's a pattern of starting ambitious storylines and figuring out the resolution later, often to mixed results. In this case, though, the story does make sense on paper. Naomi, jealous of Jade's spotlight and her bond with Bianca, orchestrates the November attack. Jade returns, seeking revenge, and targets Naomi at Elimination Chamber. It's straightforward enough. The problem is the execution. Drawing it out for so long muddied the waters. I suspect Jade's medical clearance took longer than anticipated, forcing WWE to stall. That's why it feels confusing when, to me, it shouldn't be. Hindsight's 20 out of 20, of course, and I try to stay ahead of WWE's creative curve, predicting moves 3, 4, even 7 steps in advance. Sometimes I'm spot on, sometimes I miss the mark. Here, I think I'm right to call out the sloppy build-up, even if the payoff has potential. So, where does this leave us? Bianca's headed to WrestleMania, Jade's on a collision course with Naomi, and the WWE Universe is buzzing. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you make of this attack, this storyline, and where it's all going? Drop your takes in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation rolling.